Okay, we're back at it again. We're gonna try this again because last time it did a little time skippy on us. That's not what we want. All right, so we got the materials laid out in front of us. I'm gonna even show you some rough drafts that I did of the sketch, and they're really rough. As you can see, I got my tape out. I got some. I taped up the edges just to make sure that it stays on the paper. It's a good technique for watercolor and all that good stuff like that. But we ain't gonna work with watercolor. I'm busting out, you know what I'm saying, one of these pencils right here. I put all the materials in the description below. I grabbed this little my roller elite from the dollar store or 99-cent store. Really cheap gel pens. As you can see, I got some microns, you know what I'm saying. I got the 0.1, 0.3, 0.5, and I'm using a Papermate just because I like it. 0.9 edge, HB. Then we got some prism colors, and I'm working with, let's see, in 60% warm or 80% warm. That was a little blurry for even me, but you know, we're gonna get it in. Warm, we're going warm for the really dark shadows and cool for the light shadows because of just the way it's going. And then I'm gonna, you know, finish it off with these Blick pens and a Sharpie. So, Blick has like a Sharpie like pens, and yeah, that's that right there. Once again, all that's gonna be in the description below. As you can see here, I'm listing off what is the front, what's the back, how I'm going to go about this. You see some sketches there, just just really rough, loose sketches, just so I could get the feel down. And I'm about to start, so I'm starting off with the pencil. Hold on, let me grab this. Let me grab this ice cream float right here and just. And I like to get loose just by, you know what I'm saying, wiggling the hand, wiggling my arm, doing a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight. That's how I get loose. But right now I'm not gonna get loose that way. So I'm marking up the page so where you can see on the camera. Basically, I'm making my marks just so I won't go above and or beyond those lines. Now with my character Neil, he has really, really big hair. And what we're going to do is start off with a big ass little square right there. And that's just going to represent most of his hair. It's just a little general sense. Like, I always do guidelines. And this is the best way to do guidelines for me. Just base it down, break it down to its basic shapes. And as you can see, I'm building up the focal point, because right there should be where his head is. I want to fix that line up because that's not exactly the line I chose to go with. But basically, this whole entire process, you got to go very, very light. All you're trying to do is just tickle your own fancy and just get an idea of what's going on the page, just so you could just get that feel going on spim spam shim sham. So I finally blocked in his head, and once I block in his head, I could block in everything else. So I'm going in for the shoulders. His arm is going to be slightly raised, so it's going to be overlapping a lot of his right side, which will be our left side, the way that we're looking at him, but it's going to be his right side. So I put the hand first in front of the right side, that way, you know what I'm saying, we won't really block off that area. Just get it all in. I'm going to take another sip of this delicious root beer float. Now here I'm just blocking in the fingers. Just getting it in. It's early in the morning. Excuse my grogginess and the voice and all that good shit like that. And yes, I am drinking a float in the morning. Why? Because I'm fucking grown. I could do that. Now, I'm trying to show you the exact curvedness of the hands and whatnot. So, you know, it's always good reference to use your own damn hands. Sometimes you don't need a picture. You just need to move your hands around, especially when this comes to hands. A lot of the famous artists, not the famous, but the best ones, if you will, back in the old days, they always draw their left hand or they draw their right hand, whichever hand that was free, they would use that as a reference, and that's a good starting point. Or you could just buy one of those fancy wooden tools, or just look at pictures online. Either way, wherever get your rocks off, you can do that. So, bam, blocking in the forearm, it's going to do a little foreshadowing, co-shadowing. Alright, maybe I do need a little bit of coffee, and this root beer float got me a little too energized, but we're going to work with it. But once again, remember, I'm going very, very light. Now I'm blocking in the eyes right here, just two little circles, two little guides. Then I'm going to round out the mouth. And you can see I do kind of like an etching motion because and this video is sped up about like 1.5%, so it's like it's not too fast, but it's just fast enough. I'll start speeding it up when we get to the more boring areas that should be coming up a little bit in up and coming. But yeah, so I'm taking a pause, you know what I'm saying, to wipe my nose, do a little dance, and then get down tonight, because I think I had to blow my nose right there. Then I had to blow my nose again. I think my dog came in. No, not yet. So, yeah, so now I'm going to start marking some areas of what I want the focus to be. So, bam. Like, I'm mapping out what I want to do right here, and it seems like it's giving me some hard times. I'm wiggling my pencil. I'm really trying to formulate a plan here, and it's always good to measure twice, then cut once. Alright, so in the art world, it's the same thing will be think of what you want twice, and then draw it once. So bam, that's why we always do the roughs beforehand, that way we have an idea of where we're going, or if you just want to put it down on the paper and all that good stuff like that. Now, since this is the cover, I am putting in where I want the 2 to be, because this is book 2 of a lot of books to come type of thing. It's an episodic adventure, linear story-ish. And bam, since I got that little 2 there, since it's going to be the main focus on the whole entire book, we just got to get that all in there, and it's going to be even hidden a little bit later. So if you're watching this video, you get a sneak peek of what's actually on there, because I don't think I'm going to put that 2 on there. I just don't want to, unless the editors want me to put the 2 on there, then I'll put the 2 on there. But bam. So now I am drawing the gorilla spirit, because if you remember the way that the ref was earlier, I want like a war type scene, like inside your head, but not really there. That way you kind of look like kind of confused, but then like, I want to feel like your imagination is coming to life. And bam, so I'm drawing this little gorilla just in a, not in a prone position, in a leaping bash position. So I'm just blocking out his, basic shapes, adding in the head, the circles, all that good stuff like that. Right here, since he's really smaller, I gotta stay really loose. And since he's going to be overlapping the main character, oh man. Okay, that Blue Bear Flow's kind of come back to bite me in the ass. Literally. I think I got the runs. I'm not gonna stop the video until it's done, but you know what I'm saying? We're just gonna keep on going. Oh, okay, just let that slip. Alright, my bad. Alright, so, excuse that. That was just a brain fart, you know what I'm saying? Don't mind that. It doesn't stink in this studio. It doesn't stink at all. So I want the wolf spirit to be connecting to the main character, little Neo character right there, and what I'm doing is just drawing little details just to insinuate like, oh, where the wolf is gonna go, and I kind of draw even a stopping point. So I want the wolf to be coming from his eye, or at least that connection, where it's just like, oh, he's connected to the wolf some way, shape, or form. So bam, connected to his eye. The eye is a major theme in this story, because I read somewhere a long time ago that ancients believed that the eye was a gateway to the soul. So a lot of characters have little eye features if I want them to make them look unique and or powerful and all that good stuff. Like they look mystical that way. So bam, it's all connected to the eye. Once again, this is all just a rough. And this took me roughly about, I don't know, 20 minutes. I'll have to go look at the tape again. I think this is almost real time at this point. I don't think this is sped up. Oh crap, this isn't sped up. Oh man, okay. So I may have mistaken the sped up part. I know I'm gonna speed up a little bit with the coloring and the penciling, because that's when we get into the major details. But for this part, I think I just kept it the same. And yes, I do work this way. I work kind of not really fast, just kind of loose, just blocking in some things. I want to make sure it's all good and, nice all dandy and whatnot for the folks. It's a little something for the kids. Now, for his hair is huge. It's just the way I made it. I think it gives him way more character than it should, but I like it. It has a lot of detail. So the whole trick is that first get that little bang in there, and then his right side of the head has a swoop, and his left side of the head has another little bang, and that's what I kind of do. And then on the right side of him, our left side, he has like two. What do we call it? Bangs? I don't know what those are called. I'm not a hairologist, but he has two swooping hair thingies, hair strands, just clumps of hair. So he has one small one that overlaps a big one that goes over his right shoulder. I think that just gives him like a really messy, almost like, oh, you can't tell what he is, like, type of feel. Now I'm just blocking in the rest of the left side of his hair, because the left side of his hair is mainly just on his backside, but some of it just sometimes comes over his shoulder just a little bit. So I want to just get that little bit of detail in there. It's going to show off a lot better in the pencil and in the inking process. Once again, with the pencil, not the pencil, with the color pencil, what I'm trying to do is just do a nice little rough, get down all the major plot points, if you will, of the picture, just so I can formulate a plan and just really get it in there. The reason why is because it's a really nice tool. It's at that point, after you're done with this process, it's almost like tracing at that point. Just going over it, adding a little bit of details. So that's why I like to personally just do this as this right here. So once again, I'm going lightly. If I need to like emphasize something a little bit, I go a little bit darker. As you can see, the hand is still fuzzy compared to the face. And that's because I'm adding a lot more line width and depth and darkness to those lines before I start going in for other things. So I'm going to finish up the hair, I believe. I really don't remember how I started off this process besides the sketch and whatnot. So, and once again, all of this stuff is just guides. It's not going to be our final piece, and some things will be changed as we go, because we'll probably get through it and it'll just be like, oh, well, this doesn't make sense, or oh, this is that, and blah, blah, blah. Tacos, tacos, tacos. And then bam. So, and plus, this is all digital. To be honest, I don't even go through this whole entire process like this unless it's like something really, really important. I personally like to keep away from the physical side of art now, because it just leaves so much stuff in my studio and I'm running out of space. So I try to keep it digital 100%. But this case was a little bit different. I wanted something special for the cover. And so, just make it physical first. Make sure you get all the details. And I personally am a better physical artist than I am a 3D artist, but people tell me the exact opposite. But it is what it is. It's really how you feel to go about the page and make your little skit scats and bim bams and shim shams. So yeah, there's that. Now I'm gonna just round out the face. I mean the fisties of the gorilla spirit just a little bit more. I'm just really plotting out where the freakazoid I'm going with this. I almost cussed. I'm trying to stay away from cussing as much, because apparently kids watch this now too. I don't know why. Kids don't watch this. Go watch Blue's Clues or something like that. Something educational. Unless you want to learn some art. If you're here for some art, alright, just mute me and then just pretend that you can hear my voice. That'd be a good way to get it all in. Now I'm plotting in the I'm plotting in the light lines on the hair, because hair kind of has a shine to it to a certain degree. It depends on the hair. His hair has somewhat of a shine to it. It's not completely flat. It's not completely dull. It's all groovy. So I'm also adding the tongue right here, and just really moving around this little beast right here, just making sure that everything's all groovy. And as you can see, I didn't really go in ham, if you will, on the left eye, or his left eye, the eye on the right side of the page. That's because I want that mystical feel to start popping from his face real quick, and we're gonna really see that come into play in a little bit. All right, so I think at this point, do I switch off? I believe so. Yeah. So I believe that at this point I got a general idea of where I'm going with this. I'm liking where I'm going with this, and I'm gonna toss this little bad boy over here, and then I'm gonna grab the Papermate, and this is where I get everything into play. So I'm gonna grab a little sheet of paper, just a loose little piece of paper, make sure nothing's on it, or if something's on it, it won't be slipping and sliding and being added to my paper. That's why I like to work with the clean stuff to a certain degree, or just some marked up stuff or a piece of paper that I just don't want to, like, I just don't give a crap about anymore. So bam, you see it's clean on one side, clean on the other. There's some drawings on the inside of it that failed in life and deserve to be a piece of crappy paper to be dumped on and all that good jazz. Anywho's, so right here, I am going to start off with the gorilla, and as you can see, I'm going really, really tiny on the eyes. I'm just going to add in all these details. I'm just making him pop out a little bit more. So he's going to cover up that little section right there. So I'm drawing some flames because that's his special ability, or her special ability. Yeah. It's a gorilla female. Why? Because, I don't know, just what I want in the story, I guess. So yeah, I'm just popping off a little bit of bubbles here and there, adding in some flame details. Now, this character is supposed to be glowing, right? Obviously, we can't have it glow in the real world unless we really do some spam pam stuff and really paint it out. But I don't feel like doing that because it's going to be digital anyway, and it's a lot harder for me to take a really clean picture to transfer it to digital. So that's why we're working small, and we're not even going to really finish off all the details like that, but I'm going to pencil in some dark areas. That way when I transfer it over to the computer, we're gonna see some of that pop through. So bam, getting the legs in. I'm just really outlining this just to make it feel like it is home, like just focus in on it. And yeah, just let that wave over you for a split second. So bam, I'm just gonna block out the outline. It's always good to start with the outline. It's just a healthy trick that I like to do, especially for watercolors. When we're working with watercolors, it's always good to outline your stuff. There's so many different artists. There's so many different ways to do it. Find your little niche. If you like to just go straight at it, then go straight at it. Don't be afraid. If you don't like to go straight at it and like to plan it out for like days, plan it out for days. If you just want like a quick little sketch, that way you have a general idea where you're going, then do that too. Just find your little niche in the art world and do that. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so bam. And we are still recording, so it's all groovy, it's all spam, and it's all shaped up and shipping up to be nicely. Alright, so as soon as I finish off this gorilla real quick, I'm going to add some more flameage just to really insinuate the flames. And I'm going to take some markers to that, and like right after I'm done with the pencil, I'm just going to marker that whole entire little bad boy up. Now, the trick is to basically art in general. Bob Ross taught me this. If Bob Ross didn't teach you this, if you don't even know who Bob Ross is, stop my video right now. Go over to Bob Ross. Go watch some Bob Ross. That's a painter that we all can relate to. Now, but if you're still here, I commend you, and let's continue on this journey. Alright, so bam. It's all about the battle between light versus dark. Alright, it sounds racist. I know it does, but it's not. And if you thought it was racist, then you are probably a racist. But no, it's not about the skin tone, light versus dark. It's all about the actual black and white, like literal black and white. Nobody's literally black and or white. We're just different shades of brown. So the whole battle between light versus dark is all about tonnage. So obviously if something's darker, because as we can see, like what's popping out to us right now on the page is the gorilla and the eye and the little hair pieces that I'm drawing right now, because it's darker than the little color pencil that I did earlier, and that's why we go light first, because as soon as we put that pencil on there, it's gonna just overlap it like scrim jam. And that's the same thing, it's the same technique we do with inking. If you know anything about inking, you grab your pencils, put them on top, make them light, and no matter how much you do it, it's not going to be as dark as the ink is going to be, because ink stains up really nicely. And yeah, so now I'm just I'm just following my guide at this point. I may even speed this up just a little bit. Okay, I can't speed it up. That's why. All right, so this. Okay, there we go. All right, so bam, shazam. So we're speeding this little bad boy up, and I am just blocking in some shadows. So I want the light source to be from his left eye, the wolf spirit a little bit, and the gorilla spirit that's like right above his head. So everywhere else is going to be shadow. I'm not going to mark in all the shadows with pencil. I'm just going to do a light job, just so I know where I'm going. It's just how it goes. You got to know where you're going. You gotta know your destination, but it's not about the destination, it's all about the journey. And I am having a blast with the journey right here, so look at this right there. Bam! Bam, bam, shazam. And the trick that I personally like to do is move across the page. And as soon as you get bored with one area, just switch to another. So as you can see, that's why you're gonna start not just start seeing, but that's why you see me jump around a lot during this picture. So first I start off with the gorilla, and I finish him off, and as soon as I start off on the eye, I get a little bored with that, and I just move on to the next area. And that's just the key. It's just as soon as you get bored, move on to another area. So right there, I feel like I finished the mouth just a little bit, and I'm just coming back in and just okay, bam, add some shadow to the hair, to the back side of the hair, and that's gonna be some shade. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna throw some shade on it. You're gonna see this little bad boy pop out just a little bit more, and that's all it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just all about the technique, the flow, and all that good jazz. So I'm gonna get his collarbone in there real quick, because that's what I wanted to do at that point in time. Hell, if you don't like what I'm doing right now, then you can just shut your mouth and go to another video. There's plenty of videos on YouTube. If you don't like what I'm doing, then you can do. All right, yeah, that's the float actually kicking in and just condemning my insides for being insides. Yeah, that happened. Anywho's, so I'm just finishing off the hand a little bit, and I really like hands. I'm not gonna lie, like there's something about drawing hands that's just really takes a lot of focus. Like when you're under pressure and you're like, oh, draw a hand real fast, and it's like, oh, well, is the hand the focus of the picture? Then you can just do like a block. Like you do the cartoon, like 4 fingers or four little nubs on the hand and whatnot. Do all that animation technique, but when you get the time to just really get the hands in there, there's all these little nooks and crannies, all these foreshortening techniques that just happen all in the hand itself. That's just so magical to me. And if you want to see some videos on that, drop a like. And I think we got that channel up, the anatomy class channel. I don't know, fuck it, but it should be up there. I don't know. So I'm going down here and I'm getting some of the sleeves, some of his cloth in there, getting a shirt. So bam, start off with the foreshortening arm of the arm thingy, and then we're going, bam. So I'm just gonna rough out this too, because no reasons. I just want that little two just to block out that area. And then, like I said, I just move around the area, right? I just move around the whole entire picture, just really letting the mind flow, and just don't stress the technique. Now I'm just gonna add a little bit of detail for his clothing, that little rim. And like I really didn't really notice this up until like somewhat recently in my life, is that these clothes have that little ring around it, and it has all these little ridges, these little bumps and curves and these valleys that's in there, and I just like to draw that now. For some reason it's just like just in there. So definitely start looking at things and what you're drawing and seeing the details that really apply to it, and then stylize it to your uh, to your liking. Because as you can see, no shirt really looks like that from far away and or close up. Like those little ridges are not that prominent. I just personally like to do that. Just I don't know. It's just me. It's just me. So definitely find things. I see people do zippers differently than other people. Some people just do like to do the jagged square teeth, and some people like to get in there, and make like each and every little zipper detail and all the ridges and all the recesses and all the even the fabric that connects to it just looks super detailed. And those are good for some artists, and those are, and some artists just don't like it. It's all preference. So find your preference. All right. So right here I am making sure. My bad. So I am making sure right here that the hairband just overlaps that little flame that's coming out of his eye, because I want that eye to be like super magical. I want it to really feel and get that depth. Like it's just seeping right across his eye, like just going straight left or right of his face. It's supposed to be left, but we're seeing it on the right side. So bam, we'll speed that up, and to make sure that we get that essence of, hey, this is a light projection thing, I'm gonna color, or I'm gonna pencil shading with the graphite and pencil and the lid and all that good stuff. It's all group. We know what I'm talking about. But the shading part of it, I'm just gonna make sure all around that is semi dark or just straight up dark. And the reason being, because I want like it to have a glow effect. So things that glow, it kind of makes everything around it look a little bit lighter before tapering off into a dark void. So if you look at lampposts in the middle of the night, you're gonna see that in the very source you got like this white light burning, or some kind of color tone burning, and as you move away from that source, it's gonna start dissipating on the light, and then the darks are gonna start mixing in. So you gotta make it feel like the lights are just sitting just on top of the darks, just on top of the darks. Bam. And bam, that's how you're going to get that real shine effect going on. As you can see, it's starting to shape up real nicely, and I'm just going to, add in some details for the wolf spirit. Now, a lot of it did get lost in the inking process, and I didn't like that as much, but since it's going to be digital anyway, I didn't really have time to, not really time, but to be honest, I just didn't fix it, because on paper. Reason being, because digital fixes everything. Not everything. No, it doesn't fix skill, but for me, it's a lot. It's a little bit free, and so that's why right here it's gonna be a little okay, as you can see, I get really close into those details. Bam, just gotta make sure I get that little teeth jaggedness just right. Sometimes you just need to focus, so instead of zooming in uh with the camera or anything like that, it's just good to just pop your head really close to the picture and just make sure that you're getting all the detail in there. It's another thing that I do for my classes that I really need to stop doing. That's a bad habit, because a lot of times I just want to zoom in with my face and I just cover the whole entire picture I'm drawing. I just try add all these little tiny little details, and then when I step back, the students are just like, "What the you know what I'm saying?" So it's just like, it's just little things, and you can go like, "Ha ha, get it done." But yeah, it's good for your own personal stuff. Just don't be afraid. Use whatever technique works for you. Um, yeah, so a lot of people like to get it all in with one stroke. Some people like to get it in an etching motion. I prefer the etching motion when I'm going small scale. So when I'm drawing with a pencil, since it's a fine tip, I like to do like the little etching motion and just move my hand, just kind of vibrate my hand, just left, up, down, diagonally, just however you do it, just kind of just rotate the wrist really fast, and that's my little technique. But when I'm painting, it's a different story, because painting, unless my painting is really small, if my painting's big and giant, I gotta use my whole entire hand, and that's the best time to get it all in one stroke. Um, so, bam, finishing up some details. I'm gonna add in the shadow for the two, only because I just want that shadow just to be there, just to really emphasize those flames. As you can see, the flames, like the shadows around the flames, aren't touching the flames at all. They have that little glowy effect. They don't just taper all the way to the end. And a lot of these shadows, they don't finish off all the way to the end, because I already know in my mind that the pencils are just going to be a guide that the ink is going to sit on top of. And we are going to marker it up with like 2 colors or so, just to get it, just get some little feeling there, just to get the feelies. And that's pretty much how it's going to go. So I'm wrapping up on the pencils. I'm just going to just add a couple of little details right here, right there, and right there. And bam, and that's gonna conclude this version, or not this version, but I guess part 1 of this. I do have to break this down into parts. If you're viewing this for the first time, definitely click subscribe, like, all that good jazz, because of the reasons. And bam, please look out for part 2, where I actually ink and color this little bad boy. And then part 3 and 4 would be all just the whole computer process. And a lot of it is just going over your work. So bam.